Well guys, in this video we are going to discuss the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of a polynomial. Fine. So basically we have already studied the zeros of the polynomial. Fine. In this video we are going to study 4 important things that we have to study, that you have to remember or you have to understand it well so that you can solve the questions. Fine. So let's get started. First point you have to remember is that if alpha, beta are zeros of p of x means function of x, ax square plus bx plus c, that means quadratic polynomial is given, then so alpha and beta are the zeros of the polynomial. They are named as alpha and beta. So sum of zeros, that means alpha plus beta will be equal to minus b by a. So if it is asked in the question to find the sum of the zeros, fine, so you can directly apply this formula, that is minus b by a. Minus b means coefficient of x, that whole thing minus, by a means coefficient of x square. Fine. So this is a procedure to find the sum of the zeros. Fine. Next one is the product of zeros, that is alpha into beta. Fine. Alpha and beta are the zeros of this given quadratic polynomial. Then that is nothing but c by a. What is c? C is the constant term. You can see over here, c is what? The constant term. What about a? A is the coefficient of x square. So you can apply this c by a formula and find out the product of the zeros also. Fine. So this is the first important point that you have to remember. Fine. Let us move on to the second thing. In the second thing you have to remember, if alpha, beta, gamma is also there, are the zeros of the p of x where x is a variable, ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d. This is a cubic polynomial, that is why 3 zeros are there. Okay, fine. For quadratic there are only 2 zeros, so this one for 3 zeros are there. So alpha, beta and gamma they have taken. Fine. So sum of the zeros will be alpha plus beta plus gamma equal to minus b by a. Same thing, coefficient of x square by coefficient of x cube. Minus b here is the coefficient of x square. Fine. Minus b will be the coefficient of x square, a will be the coefficient of x cube. Now here it is nothing but the combination of a product and a sum. That means they are adding the product of zeros. That means alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha equal to c by a. Fine. C by a means c will be the coefficient of x, a will be the coefficient of x cube. Fine. Now product of the zeros, alpha, beta, gamma will be equal to minus d by a. Minus d nothing but a constant term, a will be the coefficient of x cube. From this formulas you have to remember, and also this thing, sum, product and all you have to remember, so that you can easily calculate the given thing. Fine. Moving on to the third important thing. Third thing you have to remember is that if alpha, beta are roots of the quadratic polynomial p of x, then alpha, betas are roots of polynomial. Roots means the same thing, zeros. Okay. P of x, x square minus sum of zeros into x plus product of zeros. This formula is to calculate or is to find the quadratic polynomial if sum of zeros and product of zeros are given. Fine. So in the earlier first and second point you have studied how to find the sum of zeros and all product of zeros. If sum of zeros and product of zeros are given in the question, then how to find the quadratic polynomial? You have to use this formula. Fine. This is a formula to calculate to find the quadratic polynomial if the roots are given. So p of x is nothing but x square minus alpha plus beta. Alpha plus beta are nothing but the roots of the quadratic polynomial. So alpha plus beta is sum of the roots into x plus alpha beta, product of the roots, product of the square, zero, so we can say. Fine. Fourth point is for the cubic polynomial. Same thing. If sum of zeros and the product of zeros, all the things are given. Fine. So p of x is x cube minus sum of zeros, x square, plus sum of product of the zeros taken 2 at a time. That you had already studied, right? Alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha and all. Fine. This you have studied. That is basically sum of a product of zeros taken 2 at a time. Fine. So into x minus product of zero, that is alpha beta gamma, that they have given here. P of x is nothing but x cube minus alpha plus beta plus gamma into x square plus alpha beta plus beta gamma plus gamma alpha into x minus alpha beta gamma. This is sum of zeros, product of zeros, and this is nothing but sum of product of zeros taken at a time. So basically this is a formula you have to remember, and if suppose sum of zeros, product of zeros all are given, then you have to apply this formula to find the cubic polynomial, this formula to find the quadratic polynomial. So this thing you have to remember.